Tonight in our deep dive, move over 30-year mortgage. The Trump administration is moving forward with the plan to introduce a 50-year fixed-rate mortgage, a reform officials believe could make homeownership more feasible for millions of Americans amid soaring prices and affordability concerns. Now, President Trump first floated the idea Saturday on social media, but not everyone is a fan. Critics warn extending mortgages that long, it can essentially result in people paying far more interest and potentially trap borrowers in debt for a lifetime. Alex Jacquez is Chief of Policy and Advocacy at Groundwork Collaborative and previously served on the White House National Economic Council. Alex, thank you for joining us. Now, extending a mortgage from 30 to 50 years, it could potentially drop the monthly payment, but there are drawbacks. What are they?
That's right. So Trump is obviously trying to find an answer on affordability for housing, which right now we're seeing one of the worst housing markets that we've seen in recent times. And so the 50-year mortgage is a play to lower people's monthly mortgage payments. But the downside is, especially early on, all of that payment will be going to interest. And of course, since you're paying over 50 years and not over 30 years, you're going to be paying off that mortgage for a lot longer. So the details are still to be worked out, but it looks to be like the president's looking for a quick fix to a market that is fundamentally broken right now.
Now, besides a potentially lower monthly payment, are there any other potential advantages for homeowners?
Well, if you're refinancing, you lock in a low rate for a long period of time, like those who managed to refinance when interest rates were low during the post-COVID era. Locking in those rates for a 50-year time period can, of course, be advantageous. Of course, most people do not spend 30 or 50 years in their home and tend to refinance or sell after 7 to 9 years. And so there would clearly be a lot of buying and selling within that 50-year period, but it's hard to estimate exactly how this new mortgage product would impact the market right now, given that housing starts are so low, given that the sales turnover right now is so low, and that consumers are extremely depressed. We saw consumer sentiment numbers last week that were the second lowest recorded of all time. So families are not buying right now.
Now, the administration, they're suggesting that the 50-year plan would break the housing market gridlock and eventually even lead to cheaper housing. Is that accurate?
It's certainly possible, but it's hard to see the impact right now. Of course, because you've got those lower housing starts, you're having fewer houses being built. And so right now, adding more mortgage buyers to the market is going to bid up prices on the inventory that exists. And housing prices are already going up, clearing about $450,000 median home price, even though people are still struggling to buy. So you could be throwing gasoline in the fire on these rising home prices.
Now, what are the major reasons on why housing is so expensive here in America?
Right now, the main thing for people trying to buy a home right now is the interest rate. Mortgage rates, the 30-year is sitting at about 6%. So the Federal Reserve has started to cut interest rates, but have indicated that they might be cutting back in December's meeting. And so if these interest rates are high and you have a number of people who managed to get low interest rates in the COVID era, you're just not seeing a match of buyers and sellers. Additionally, in many places, particularly the large coastal and metropolitan areas, we simply have not built enough housing. We have run under trend in the housing that we need to add since the global financial crisis, and we need to be adding millions of more units to really make a dent in affordability.
All right. Now, the average first-time home buyer is now 40 years old. That's as close an age to when they can begin getting Social Security as to when they graduated high school. So is there any reason for optimism here?
Well, certainly we've seen a shift now, and of course the older cohort will be retiring. They will be, in some cases, passing on. They will be selling their homes down to younger generations, but it's really difficult to see right now for younger borrowers in particular in the near term how they are going to be able to afford a home. And of course, that impacts things like family formation, like settling down and getting new jobs, like moving for new opportunities if you can't afford the housing in the places you want to live.
All right, Alex Jacquez from Groundwork Collaborative. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ike.